and the narrator goes into a flashback. He tells a terrifying truth. When looking around, there was suspicion that Bikisu and his men were following the three stripes and they were dealt with. The narrator continues, but this time the chief and the new members will display their strength. If that's the case, we will have to take action. The old man smiles and says, "Look, this is really a mess." The scene changes and we see Bikisu. Isu, who is disguised as his brother Du Kyung, looks very tired and upset. The narrator continues. Additionally, Bikisu was also buried in a pile of files. It seems that he has realized, because of this and that, everyone has to die. It was a very serious situation. It exhausted him far more than before. When Ha Jin-young comes inside, he explains that Sean, as per orders, is pursuing Choi Chan-ho. Section Chief Jang goes to a new luxurious place. The old man is talking to Head Hun-chun on the phone. He is talking to him about T-Sin. He says calmly, "It's not bad. Getting a vacation like this is really good." On the other side, Lee Sun-min apologizes to him. That is why. "Because I was very clumsy, things turned out this way." But the second sword standing with Choi Chan-ho does not agree with this. He says, "But this is not due to the organization's decision. But we all are just following that decision." He says while showing his loyalty, "I trust the organization's decision, and I follow it. The result is slightly unexpected. But I didn't think that this was a wrong decision from the start." Lee Sun-min is grateful. He says that they will meet soon. There, Sean is confused after hearing all this. He asks in a strange way, "Isn't he Uncle Boss?" Rather, he is a nephew, Choi Chan-ho answers. "No, he's the boss of the head of HCO." Hearing this, Sean understands everything. He says, "If that's the case, so were you arrested in this way because of that boss? If we are troubling you, then what should we do?" Choi Chan-ho ignores Sean, and he opens a delicious salad. He says, "This is my favorite. I accept it." Sean was still confused. He says, "He told you to do something. You did." Finally, the boss was arrested, and thus it was brought here. But Choi Chan-ho had something entirely different on his mind. He thinks So T-Sin is really disappointing. John was still unaware of all this. Ha Jin-young says that he also thought the same. Ha Jin-young says to Lee Sun-min that he should let this matter go. Upon hearing this, Lee Sun-min gets angry. And yes, Ha Jin-young flicks his hand away. He shouts, "Are you treating me like a child? If you want, you give something. If not, then no. What exactly are you planning?" And Lee Sun-min reveals his real intention. "I want to protect T-Sin, and I need an organization for revenge. Therefore, we have taken control of head HCO. But what's the problem?" Yes, as Ha Jin-young says. He says it is very problematic. He refers to their working methods. And he says that he must first become Beek Du Kyung. Upon hearing this, Bikisu gets a headache, repeating the story that gave him a headache. "So I'm becoming Beek Du Kyung."
But Ha Jin-young cuts off his words. If this was Beek Du Kyung, Ha Jin-young angrily says to Bikisu, "If this was the real Beek Du Kyung, he would not behave this way." Ha Jin-young denies Isu's words and says, "If this was Beek Du Kyung, T-Sin wouldn't do that." He explains further, T-Sin is an organization like this, built on trust in the boss. Therefore, Yisu has to instill trust in each member of the organization. He has to instill trust in Beek Du Kyung. After hearing this talk about trust, Beek Yisu's mind gets overwhelmed. He gets so upset. He proceeds to bite his hair in anger. For him, the idea of belief was completely useless and laughable. He thinks to himself, "Belief or any other method? What exactly do I have to do?" Something in Yisu's mind becomes clear, he thinks. That the General Assembly still sees them as mere playthings. He challenges Ha Jin-young's belief system. Is the organization called belief nothing more than that? He has to obey only the boss's orders. He wonders if there is any other way besides this and decides, "I will use all my strength to crush them all like thugs." Upon hearing this, Ha Jin-young realizes, "Those words won't work," he says. "It is better to use it than to talk forever." Therefore, Ha Jin-young calls for a fight, so that he can show Lee Sun-min how children play. A desire to strike Lee Sun-min in the eyes arises. In the next moment, he disappears, and he attacks Ha Jin-young like a wild hawk. But Jin-young calmly grabs his collar, and he is thrown onto the table forcefully. Lee Sun-min feels a bone-breaking pain, but a devilish smile appears on his face. Yes, Jin-young had complete confidence. He says intelligence officers are nothing. But Beek Yisu responds quickly. Intelligence officers are not foolish, they like to play. Yes, Jin-young gets a slight injury. The narrator says this is the way of Beek Yisu. The way to bend others. In the midst of this, the old man Choi Chan-ho is thinking, what is a thug organization? We are the people who live by our fists. And we trust each other's pride. Such people gather for their own benefit. And they start a war, he thinks ahead. There will be people who fight together. And there will also be people who stab in the back. Thugs are like that. Then there will also be people who trust you. And they will remain loyal to you with all their hearts. The scene returns to the battle. Lee Sunmin's office was completely in disarray. Tables and chairs were strewn all over the place. Lee Sunmin had completely defeated Ha Jinyoung. He wanted to eliminate those thugs, but he knew they all worked under his brother. Therefore, he decided to leave. He opened the door because he realized he was wrong. Resolving everything through the organization's methods wasn't a matter of his personality. It simply required greater power. Ha Jinyoung could now only lie there like a piece of wood. But an organization that uses greater strength emerged. But it became an army. Li Shan also agreed with this. Then SH's phone rings. He asks Choi Chan-ho for permission to leave. And he says, enjoy your holidays. And we will talk next time. SH asks Choi Chan-ho for permission to leave. And he says, enjoy your holidays. And we will talk next time. But there was a question in Choi Chan-ho's mind, he thinks. That Lee Sun-min is not here to keep an eye on me. Then he says, laughing at SH. My guess is that you won't run away and there's something. What I want to tell you, he says further. Nobody can believe this. But I really don't want to use force to bring you under control. At that moment, the scene changes, Biki Su appears. And the narrator reveals that he had called SH, Hindi Hishoinus. The narrator reveals Biki Su's new plan. He left the Tisen Association, which was filled with goons. And now he will do it his own way. By forming a new organization with capable people. He knew that there is no shortage of capable people in this world. We see a person wearing a helmet on a bike, likely Deadline. That could be his new member. The narrator says that one of them is targeting the most profitable order. And now let's do this in a professional way. After this, the narrator speaks. That Biki Su has set a 1-week time limit to deal with the General Assembly. Sean goes to Ha Jinyoung. He is unconscious on the ground in his broken-down office. This defeat has brought back memories of the old days. The story goes back 4 years. Yes, Ha Jinyoung used to work in an ordinary dirty restaurant. He was annoyed by an uninvited guest who kept coming there repeatedly. The guest was no one else but Baek Do-kyung. He was stained with blood as usual and was burning a cigarette with utmost ease. Baek Do-kyung says while provoking Ha Jinyoung, "Do you act so with regular customers? Can't you take care of the customers?" No one is. The narrator says that the shop's business is never good. That at that time, Baek Do-kyung was associated with a group named Nine Swords. Yes, Ha Jinyoung prevents him from smoking there. Baek Do-kyung says while pointing toward the bodies he brought with him. Excuse me, but these people are not customers. Are they? No, the restaurant owner gets scared. And he tells them to go. Then a new thug group enters. Their leader Jialing asks Ha Jinyoung, "Why don't you want to work with the IHA now? Are you afraid? Your end will be like his bosses." Before the discussion escalates, Baek Do-kyung intervenes. He says to those thugs, "The owner here does not serve wandering souls. I am an ordinary customer, so I am fine." Jialing gets irritated by this. "You are stubborn or a fool." Hearing this, Baek Do-kyung's face turns completely hard. Jialing's intent to kill him becomes evident in his eyes. And he understands that this is the same man who had taken care of his brothers. Jialing brags, provoking Baek Do-kyung. He throws cigarette smoke onto his face and says, "You look quite beautiful. We can sell you for a good price." Then a companion of Jialing, Autogego, also says something. He says, "Only one hook is here, my friend." In the next moment, Baek Do-kyung crushes the cigarette in Jialing's hand. A painful scream echoes from inside the bar, and blood splatters on the wall. Later, Baek Do-kyung introduces himself, and then he introduces himself again, saying that he is Huklan of the Jialing team. He threatens Baek Do-kyung. "Then the association will certainly deal with you." Upon hearing this, a devilish smile spreads across Baek Do-kyung's face. He taunts him, saying, "You think I care? We are the Tisen family. Send your entire Jialing army." Jialing's men panic after seeing this. They attempt to take their boss to the hospital. Ha Jinyoung feels uneasy after seeing all this. He asks Baek Do-kyung, "Is it alright to let him go like this? Why did you fight with Galnet?" But Baek Do-kyung explains briefly. "Did you not open a shop here just to get tangled with us?" He mocks the restaurant. The entire restaurant is filled with dust. And it doesn't even have a proper menu. I can't believe you opened a shop here. Why give the bike, he says, pointing at that thug. It's clear. You just wanted to try things with him that came to you. He offers Ha Jinyoung. So is this okay? If I help you with this? Yes, Ha Jinyoung reminds him. Do you know who the enemy is? But the back guys answer confidently, we are the Tison family. So it doesn't matter who he is. Ha Jinyoung says nothing and gives him a hair tie. So that he can tie his hair. He says that the sorrowful thank him. Then he mocks Ha Jinyoung's food. And while I'm talking about this, the food you cook, sir, is very terrible. You really shouldn't cook. The scene returns to the present. Hin Young, who had just lost to Baek Soo, lies on the ground. The narrator remarks that he still holds the same hair tie. It describes how a habit has stuck with Hin Young. He always kept a hair tie for the person he respected. The scene shifts to Hook as Jelly. He looks extremely uncomfortable. He can never unlearn this hand habit. But the time to settle old scores has come. 4 years have passed, but he hasn't forgotten that day's pain. He cheerfully encourages his men, saying, the Tison family is weak right now, because their leadership has already resigned. We are going to defeat them. Joe has 50 people who are ready to attack Tison at any time. Before anyone can comprehend, many of Jialing's men are kicked and thrown inside. Someone has infiltrated their territory. A new person is standing at the door. His body is extremely muscular. His blue eyes are completely empty. People used to call him Burrit. Earlier, the construction manager asked, who did this? Who sprayed paint on our construction site? There was a star mark on the wall. Burrit recognized that star mark very well. Baek Lisu's first location was right here, a construction site. Those people also discussed Burrit. It seems that the person has returned to Russia. And he has another name, Ajo. But Baek Lisu had seen his true condition. He was disguised as an export worker to hide his identity. And now they were waiting for him here. He has not found the traitor yet. Baek Lisu is holding a USB drive in his hand. The voiceover states that he has found the traitor. Therefore, obviously, he could not return. People gave him several names, Dapers and Beak Huntspot. We see the following. Baek Lisu is standing in front of a very muscular and dangerous-looking man named Burrit. Baek Lisu calls Burrit. But Burrit does not listen, the narrator says. How would a man like Burrit work with them? One of his other nicknames was Gioelin. Baek Du Kang had come here to have a conversation with this devil. Burrit paused for a while. Then he took off his construction hard hat. Behind it was something that everyone who knew Burrit knew well. Behind his head was a terrible stitched wound that looked like an animal's claw. He was truly a devil in human form. Just then a new gang group appeared, whose leader was Jiaguang. They did not know who this unknown man was. Jiaguang angrily ordered his men to attack him, because he had ruined their important day. His men moved forward to catch that devil, but they had no idea that this man had guns. As soon as his men moved forward, everyone froze for a moment. Burrit immediately used the butt of his gun to break a man's nose. It took the remaining people quite some time to recover. They also drew their guns, but by then it was too late. The devil's face wore an extremely wild smile. The voiceover says he didn't use guns. He used his fists and the gun was just for show. After all, they are men who can control their fear. And they all fall on him at once. They try to grab his head and body to subdue him. One of them succeeds in grabbing him. But even if he had no hands or feet, he still had his teeth. He didn't expect to be bitten like a dog during an intense fight, and it wasn't just an ordinary bite. Burrit could use his teeth to bring down his enemy. Seeing this, Hook is completely terrified. Burrit picks up a knife. He was truly a devil in human form. The smell of blood and screams of pain combined into a magnificent symphony. At that moment, having seen all this, he becomes a demon. The voiceover says that everyone has a devil inside to justify their weakness. Burrit catches Hook's head and bends it down. Burrit remains the same. Burrit takes the knife to the back of Hook's neck, as if searching for a fellow demon like himself. Exactly at that moment, Lee rushes in quickly, and he shouts to Burrit to stop, saying enough. Beak, you did a good job, but can you stop? The Hook still had a little life left. He introduces himself in a weak voice. He says he is from Jialing. Lee cuts him off and says, I know that Jialing is only this much. I am from the Tison Association. Sean reports to his director over the phone. This group belongs to Jialing. Everything is now in our hands, he says. Jialing's current strength is just 1. That is a fake hook, Sean believes while talking on the phone. We cannot take on this Russian man. He is extremely violent. After that, Baek Yi-soo's plan comes to light. Sean says it is okay to use Burrit, but he is against using another person named Iron Weasel. He is capable, but we cannot trust him. Baek Yi-soo also knew this. He thinks to himself, Iron Weasel is truly capable, but he only works for money. Lee calls him a capitalist and a North Korean agent. Then a new person suddenly appears, and he attacks Baek Yi-soo. Baek Yi-soo was thinking about his new plan. He knew that Iron Weasel is a capable man, but he works only for money. A mixture of a capitalist and a North Korean agent. Then a new person suddenly appears, and he attacks Baek Yi-soo. This person was wearing a purple hoodie. He placed a sharp-edged knife directly on Baek Yi-soo's throat. He was questioning Baek Yi-soo about his assistant. He wanted to know who was behind Baek Yi-soo. The person was Iron Weasel, the narrator says. He looked small, but his killing power was extremely dangerous. He was skillfully spinning a butterfly knife in his hand. The real identity of this new dangerous character comes to light here. The reality is this boy was only 17 years old. Identification: he was an anti-South Korean spy, that is, a North Korean spy. Nicknames: his nickname was White-Bellied Philosopher. Status: a primary target of the National Intelligence Service's surveillance. At this time, the boy was running away from Iron Weasel. That means he was a fugitive. That was the reason why Lee Sang-ha was against including him in the team. But despite that, he was extremely capable. Despite his very young age, he gave a strong contest to Baek Yi-soo. But finally, Baek Yi-soo catches him with his hood. Even though he was young, his skill was quite good. Now the story goes into a flashback. It tells the complete story of this boy and other detectives like him. 3 years ago, a major from the Reconnaissance General Bureau was at the Kaesong Industrial Complex. He was addressing the children there. He asks them, "Do you know? Where are you?" He explains that this is the place. The Kaesong Industrial Complex, where North Koreans and others gather to earn money. Yi-soo calls this place a mark of a dirty capitalist. Yi-soo instills this idea in the children. Yi-soo wants South Korean children to see them as stray dogs. Therefore, North Korea devised a plan called white belly flooding. The plan trained teenagers as spies at the Kaesong Industrial Complex so they could deeply infiltrate South Korea. According to the plan, they worked in the industrial complex during the day. At night, they received training to become spies in South Korea. They were to be transported into South Korea along with goods produced at the complex. But the strangest aspect was that the instructors training these children did not take the plan seriously. Yi-soo used sweets like chokupai to entice the teenagers. These children had never tasted anything from a capitalist market before. Consequently, Yi-soo became very excited about it. A particular teenager, Kang Young-chan, was influenced because he came from an environment where he had never had such opportunities. We see an empty box of chokupai and a voiceover narrates. It narrates that there was a cost of tough training for these children. The reward was the taste of capitalism. This sweet symbolized a world against which they were being trained. But the children themselves were also greedy for it. The training lasted for 2 years. However, the leaders and instructors gradually lost patience. They had to wait for the completion of the children's ideological education before they could be used. Finally, their superiors demanded that the training be completed this week. It was a direct order from above. When the Kaesong Industrial Complex was shut down, it disrupted their plans and they had to prepare immediately. The superiors wanted to see the results immediately. But these children were still mentally very fragile. The uncle who often gave candy to Kang Young-chan told him to wait until night, and he would give him candy. But that boy had no idea that that very night, they were to be put into a truck and sent to South Korea. The instructors saw that the boy was still waiting. So they told him that when he reaches South Korea, he can eat as much as he wants. It was a false promise. They said this so he would peacefully go into the truck. But before that, they had to deal with the driver. So the leader signaled them to prepare. Kang Young-chan didn't understand anything. He wondered whether it was proper to thank the driver. But those people were in a hurry and didn't listen to his words. Kang Young-chan told them to wait. However, an instructor pulled out a knife to kill the driver. Therefore, Kang Young-chan killed the instructor who tried to kill the driver instead of waiting. He killed his own instructor. Blood splattered on his face. In retaliation, his comrades were left speechless. Ran and the others were left speechless. Kang Young-chan asked his comrades to listen. When everything was over, the driver was still safe and fine. Kang Young-chan innocently asked that uncle to take him to South Korea. Well, South Korea seemed quite good for him, and the high-ranking officials of this firm were no exception. But all members of the new special task force, including their instructor, were killed by Kang Young-chan. He killed everyone, then a spy suddenly appeared and interfered with his breakthrough operation. Kang Young-chan, who is called the White-Bellied Philosopher, was urgently placed under management surveillance. The person who reported this mess was none other than Baek Yi-soo from Task Force North. The story returns to the present. Now Kang Young-chan had to face once again the man who was far better than him in knife skills, learned in North Korea. So was he surrendering? He raised his hands. As expected, he was from the north. He asked Baek Yi-soo, "Are you the unknown man following me?" But Baek Yi-soo made it clear that he was not chasing him. Kang Young-chan asks, "If you're not chasing me, then why did you come all the way here?" Baek Yi-soo says, "He has come to make a deal." It was a phrase Kang Young-chan liked hearing very much. Very capitalist, that's why he says it. "So hurry up and tell me." Meanwhile, at the same time on Yongnam Mountain, in Ryu Tae-yeon's operation area, those working under him fell victim to his wrath. Within half a day, the business licenses of 3 hotels were suspended. The voiceover explains that those working under him were victims of his anger. Within half a day, the business licenses of his 3 hotels were suspended. There were no better options for the district to resolve this matter. It was a clear indication that this job had been done by a very powerful person. Hearing this drives Ryu crazy. We see him angry, holding the head of one of his men. He shouts at his people, "So you people also investigate. You low-down dogs just say yes and shut the hotel. Don't just follow orders that come from above like this." He was so angry that he wanted to kill that fool to calm his anger. But before he could act, he receives another bad piece of news. The Thyssen Association has destroyed his credit company in the Henan province. Now it dawns on him. He realizes that all of this is his doing. Therefore, he immediately gathers all his brothers. So that he can attack Thyssen in the Hanam district, the scene changes. Ryu Tae-yeon's gang of goons forces people to laugh. The story of those goons seemed completely humorous. At that moment, a painful scream from one of Ryu Tae-yeon's men resonates, which makes Ryu Tae-yeon stop. A man wearing a mysterious hood was twisting the arm of one of his men. He says, apologizing in a strange manner, "I have twisted your arm too much. Now I will have to eat with my left hand." As soon as he finishes his speech, a punch hits his face. But nowadays, children eat whatever food they want. Therefore, Ryu Tae-yeon could not let it go. At that moment, Section Chief Jang easily blocks the punch. And Hassan apologizes to Ryu Tae-yeon. He says, "Our children are a bit ill-mannered. But we have observed this around. Running a hotel involves many problems. Is that so?" He offers him a deal. "Just say a few words and everything will be resolved properly. Let's sit down first." Looking at his false face makes Ryu Tae-yeon feel disgusted. He also replies in the same cunning tone, "Stopping our hotel business is not a problem. This is you, right? But what do you want me to do by saying all this? Or are you asking me to save your life?" Meanwhile, a person standing behind starts laughing. Here, the narrator uses wolves to explain how the Underverse works. Wolves are the top predators among animals. They are smaller than bears and tigers. But the reason they are top predators is this. They do not hunt alone like other hunters. They usually gather in packs to hunt and live. The entire pack is led by a single alpha wolf. The alpha wolf dominates everything. He is considered the leader. The narrator reveals this at the end. Large organizations with structures similar to wolf packs are called jialing. One hand holds a valuable ring. The narrator uses wolves to explain how the Underverse operates. Wolves are the biggest predators among animals. They do not hunt alone, instead they live in a pack. And that entire pack is led by just one wolf, the alpha wolf. He is the strongest, the narrator says. Large organizations with a structure like a wolf pack are called jialing. And then the most important thing comes up. The leader of jialing is R. The scene changes. Ryo is shouting at one of his men. At that moment, a new extremely powerful person appears. This is the same department head Jang whom we saw earlier with Li Shan. But this time, department head Jang was in a completely different style in front of R. He comfortably takes a drag of a cigarette. And while mocking the organization of R, he asks, "What is jialing?" Department head Jang keeps teasing them. Running a hotel on every street of Jonsan and interfering in various affairs. Well, you all are just thugs. It is, no, that was a clear warning. The narrator explains this situation very well. In plain words, the department head was a gun-wielding hunter, and his pack of wolves had come near jialing. Another man standing with the department head says, "He was different from these inexperienced thugs. He was a professional." Hearing this makes R's blood boil. His anger takes over his mind, and he asks directly, "Do you want to fight right?" "No." But department head Jang does not get flustered at all. He takes another puff and says very calmly, "Relax, and let's talk about business." Director Rio, this was a huge power move. Despite his anger, Rio reluctantly picks up a file, and he starts to look at it. Even though he was angry, he knew that this case was extremely serious. And looking at that file, he asks suspiciously, "You really want to give this to us to eat? Is this really sweet? Therefore you want to share it with us," he continues to say. "Why are you giving us such a good thing? If something goes wrong, we will be the ones to get hurt. The benefit will be only for you, right? Why should we trust you and accept this?" He realized it was a trap. All the danger falls on him. Section Chief Jang adjusts his glasses and reminds him of it. This is a business deal. At that moment, the Phantom, a white-haired assassin, appears in the scene, who is twirling a knife. Behind him, masked people are standing, Section Chief Jang says. He will also provide the necessary manpower, and they are all professionals. Upon hearing this, Yisu tears the project file in anger. He warns Section Chief Jang as he says, "You're talking nonsense about professionals at this late hour. We need to investigate properly before discussing business," and then he presents the final challenge. "First, let me see the strengths of these professionals." The scene changes. Li Shan was waiting for someone among the bikers at a quiet spot. He was very uneasy because the appointment time had already passed, but the person hadn't arrived yet. Then suddenly his team leader's call comes. Sean takes a sigh of relief. "Thanks, I thought you had disappeared." The team leader gives him an order. "For now, just wait there for me. I will call later. When we finish the work on this side, we will meet Iron Viper." Upon hearing this, Sean asks with concern, "There is no problem. Team leader, is that man capable of the work?" The scene shifts to a dark alley. Two men lie on the ground. A young man named Iron Viper quickly passes by them. He defeats both of them in the blink of an eye. He warns them angrily, "If you don't want to die, admit everything quickly." Suddenly, he sees blood on his clothes. He screams like a madman. He is truly a professional. At the same time, Baek Yisu was inside a building. Suddenly, a knife flies through the air toward him. A bald man attacks him. He easily deflects the attack. Defeating those thugs was very easy for him. And the final scene of the video shows Baek Yisu standing atop a pile of corpses. He had just piled them and his next victim stood before him. At that moment, Lee Sun-min starts speaking. Upon hearing it, the captain is stunned. He tells his old story. "When Captain North left, I was sent to the US military in the Middle East. I had studied English there." After that, Sean gives further information. He explains, "There are some strange boys riding motorcycles nearby. One of them is named Deadline. He is that kind of man who will listen to anyone for money. Therefore, he is called a servant. These new people were either marking thugs or recruiting new people for themselves." Then Baek Yisu has a new companion, Kang Young-chan, who is also called Iron Weasel. He gives an order to keep moving forward. Their purpose is clear. They need to eliminate all the small organizations operating under the big organization named Earthwolf. They have already received a new recruit. Therefore, they now have to eliminate the entire Earthwolf organization. Lee Sun-min identifies this technique as guerrilla warfare and tells the captain. He says he will handle some things and meet up with him later. Just as Baek Yisu was urging him to hurry, suddenly an axe flies through the air and appears in front of him. He stops it just in time. But they now have to work quickly because the enemy was moving faster than they expected. The person who attacked with an axe was Dookie Dookie of Earthwolf. He asks them whether they are from the Hyongo investigation team. And how did they dare to take on Earthwolf? Baek Yisu orders Iron Weasel. He should quickly eliminate these people because they are all just inexperienced. But the two big men standing behind Dookie Dookie immediately come forward. And they push the sorrowful Dookie backward. They attack Iron Weasel together. Iron Weasel immediately reports to Baek Yisu. These people are recruits. In other words, they have been trained in the military. Baek Yisu realizes Earthwolf also has military-trained people. Dookie hides behind his two professional bodyguards and laughs with great joy. He reveals the truth. These people have been sent by Earthwolf's director, R. That they are educated. Their capabilities are completely different. I am as well. Ron, who was present, then delivers a terrifying threat. They might have already reached your TESAN headquarters by now. You're not the only ones with intellect. Go back and check whether your organization and your boss have already been beaten to death. Or not. Rai believed that upon hearing this, those people would panic and run away. Meanwhile, Section Chief Zhang had already intervened directly on the field and had directly brought in Earthwolf. In the end, Iron Weasel suggests offering a double price to his captain. Because they were the underdogs. Because if this isn't true, we need to ask some questions. He says, anyhow, I'm a North Korean spy. Therefore, I don't know if I can harm the South Korean recruits or not. Just attack. The speed of Iron Weasel's blocking was extremely fast. He uses his agility to jump. And with a single clean strike, he ends the battle. When that man falls, then the other immediately moves forward. But Iron Weasel didn't give them a chance to prepare. Because his body was small, he easily evades their attacks. And he counterattacks. The voiceover says this is all there is. Only those who can handle it professionally. Clearing out the entire base for Iron Weasel was no easy task. But he was doing it. After the battle ended, he reminds the client. He tells them that their task is complete. And tells him to speed up. He gets frightened upon seeing this. Bikisu knew what to do now. So he moves forward quickly. He runs away from their trembling in fear. But the real problem now emerges. The voiceover says that Section Chief Zhang has now joined the Earth Wolf organization. And things were happening faster than they expected. The scene changes. Rai Hyunkal is looking at a list. At that moment, an old man sees a name on the list. Ran gets angry and says that this name looks useful. He says that this man will do everything we tell him. The old man asks what they call a professional, and he explains. If the income and expense balance is not equal, they do not work. For them, only money matters. And then a new extremely dangerous person is introduced. He has a crowbar in his hand, the voiceover says. In this case, that man is a professional. He is number one among professionals. Then a terrifying truth emerges. The old man says next, now everything is just as it was. Just as that man had said. The KingdomBuilding has been surrounded. The scene goes inside a car. Section Chief Zhang is seated. There is another person with him. An old man with long white hair and a scar on his face. This was Ghost. Ghost couldn't believe that he was being used for the thugs business. He is Ran. I killed Beak Lissu, so how is he still alive? He asks Ghost angrily, are you sure that you killed him? If you had brought back his corpse, none of this would have happened. Upon hearing this, Ghost suddenly realizes his mistake. He regrets, his fist trembling. He should have brought the corpse back. He starts shouting like a madman. But the section chief sidesteps his statement. He says, forget it. Someone has already taken care of the backlash. And we look again at that professional with the crowbar. At that moment, the biker was trying to evade the deadline attack. It seemed as if this was the end of the road for him. He thinks that Lee Sun-min will not be able to meet him. A new person thinks, perhaps this is not Chief Zhang's Kayadhara. He realizes that now so many new people and events have emerged, that it is impossible to make any predictions. Then the story goes into a flashback. In the Middle East's most dangerous war zone, a voiceover explains. Unknown incidents in such places were considered a death sentence. It was a desolate desert where escaping this harsh environment was extremely difficult. But a battalion had managed to do it. It was the 66th Nomad Battalion. They had formed a special unit under the US Special Operations Team. They easily surrounded their target and seized all their weapons. But despite that, there were still many unknown incidents. The rebels possessed weapons that came from unknown sources, and their plans were completely unpredictable. Living in such a place was like a desert snake. You had to be extremely cunning and dangerous, the voiceover narrates. To survive in such a place, you must become the desert snake. Cunning, dangerous, and always finding a way to stay alive. In that very atmosphere, some stray wolves emerged. These were the people who would do anything for money. The terrorist group needed weapons to create chaos, and these hungry wolves supplied them weapons for personal profit. Voiceover explains that there are many unknown events in life. You never know about a lizard that is well hidden. When will a snake swallow it? This is the most dangerous war zone in the world. If you do not anticipate these unknown dangers, you become their prey. A terrorist group acquires its weapons. They think they have solved everything, but they receive exactly that. What they created themselves is an unknown danger. Deadline returns to take revenge. He alone overwhelms all of them. even if his back is torn to pieces along with the money. He barely survives to take revenge on those dogs. In this desert, you must know its rules. You have to stand at the top of the food chain. Otherwise, even thinking about rising from below is foolish. You need competence along with tricks and conspiracies. Otherwise, you're just putting your life at risk. And in this world, Deadline is the most dangerous enemy. Unfortunately, Bikisu now has to face it. His left hand gripped an iron rod aimed directly at the enemy's weak point. The car's light flickered on and off. Suddenly, Li Shan turned off the car's light, plunging the surroundings into endless darkness. It seemed both had to adapt to this darkness. But Bikisu could no longer see properly. He realized the lights were being flashed repeatedly at him to blind him. A resonant clang rang out. Bikisu's knife broke. Another strike hit his hand. This enemy was extremely difficult. Her arm was already wounded, it was obvious. Section Chief Jiang had given him this generous gift. Deadline was a professional who worked only for money. At the same time, Tison was not resting either. When the owner was away, the attackers made every effort to strike. The people who came were Earthwolf's hounds. The hounds had not yet seen the director or leader Ha Jin-young. Some people were fighting while others had just come to watch. One of Section Chief Jiang's recruits went to find his boss. But he could not find him. When he returned, he saw the scene. A group of hired thugs, unaffiliated with any organization, appeared. If that's the case, he'll end it. A glasses-wearing recruit defeated the commander shouting orders for Tison with a single strike. He fell completely. This performance forced the recruit to hate Tison. He thought they were just two ruffians. Therefore, he decided to eliminate them all. He became so mentally agitated that he developed a deep hatred for Tison. A bespectacled recruit had easily defeated a commander of Tison. This made him so arrogant that he developed a deep hatred for Tison. They felt that this organization was extremely weak. But as the narrator says, a lion that does not roar lacks ferocity. This meant that even though Tison was currently calm, he was still a dangerous lion. And those people made the mistake of provoking that lion. The recruit who had just won was mocking the man lying on the ground. But in the next instant, an unknown punch landed on his face. He fell far away. The narrator says mockingly, he was on the screen for less than 3 seconds before he died. A strong kick landed on his head. And his story ended there. Blood began to flow over his face. Now we see the person who did this. An old man with white hair and a beard, and in his hands were technology gloves stained with blood. This was Choi Chan-ho, the narrator explains. To tell the truth, he just wanted to rest. The other recruits standing with him were terrified upon seeing this. Then a new person with glasses and black hair appears. He recognized the old man. The narrator says they discover something. They have taken on a fight with one of the biggest legends of the underworld. The glasses-wearing recruit understood that Choi Chan-ho is now fighting on Tison's side, which was a very big deal. But Section Chief Jiang's second recruit was still arrogant. There was still hatred in his eyes. He said, mocking Choi Chan-ho, "Do your children not give you retirement money? Old man, you are taking part in this kind of children's game." Here the narrator introduces the recruit. His previous profession was in a special military police unit, but he was dismissed from there. Now he has become the leader of a special action team created for violence and mayhem. He didn't know that the old man he was looking down on. He was one of Ilhak's 9 swords, a group that had ushered in a magnificent era in its time. Choi Chan-ho possessed Ilhak's sword in his pride, and now he was fighting for Tison. Hearing that Choi Chan-ho is now fighting for Tison, the recruits' comrades got scared. They knew that fighting Choi Chan-ho was an invitation to death. But the arrogant recruit still didn't stop. Choi Chan-ho approached him and questioned his attitude. In the next moment, Choi Chan-ho threw a powerful hook punch at the recruit. Then moving quickly forward, he landed another punch to the recruit's stomach. The recruit was trained very well. Therefore, he aimed each strike at a weak spot. The scene changes, we are on another playground of Beak Yisu. Deadline was still attacking him with a motorcycle. Yisu's arm had already broken and he had wasted a lot of time here. Deadline continuously attacks him with a motorcycle. Yisu knew that the motorcycle's strength comes from its speed. Therefore, he wanted to aim at its frame. But Deadline was also a recruit. Thus, all his attacks were going in vain. Section Chief Jiang had chosen a very tough enemy for him. Deadline spins his vehicle and attacks again. Beak Yisu had no other chance now. The front wheel of the motorcycle suddenly stops. Deadline does a wheelie, increasing the distance. and then attacks Yisu forcefully. His aim was to finish the job in a single strike. Deadline makes the final attack on Beak Yisu with his motorcycle. The voiceover says, obviously, Beak Yisu endured the full force of that strike. From this heavy collision, his helmet also falls off. Blood was flowing from his face, the narrator says. The blood-stained scars were marking his life, which was hanging by a thread. In this battle, this was the 5th unknown incident, and the difficulties kept increasing one after another. First the team leader was Jang, then Earth Wolf, and now Deadline. His plan was slowly being ruined. But even in this condition, Beak Yisu does not give up. He tells himself to stay calm. And he gets ready for everything. He knew that he had to watch his enemy carefully and take the right action at the right time. Deadline spins his motorcycle wheel rapidly again. Certainly dust and smoke spread everywhere. He wanted to use this smoke to play with Yisu's vision. Yisu understands the situation. Now he could not see his enemy clearly. An attack was about to happen, he surmised. He surmised that the attack would come from either the left or the right of his injured side. But as the narrator says, unknown events are things that cannot be completely anticipated or controlled. But not all unknown events are bad in every situation. This time, a new person emerges from the smoke. He mocks Deadline. Does a professional work like this? Does a professional work like this? In my opinion, this is not very professional. Beak Yisu sees this, stays. He didn't expect that he would be here. It was none other than Ha Jin-young. Ha Jin-young asks Beak Yisu, do you want to take help from this inexperienced one? Now how will things change with Ha Jin-young's arrival from the Tisen Association? This was a new question. Meanwhile, the story takes us back to the Stessen headquarters. The recruit says it in his arrogance. I don't even know you, old man. Meanwhile, the recruit devises a new plan in his mind. He knew that Choi Chan-ho's speed did not match his body. This means that strength is not his real power. But before he could think further, Choi Chan-ho appears in front of him the moment he blinks. The narrator reveals that Choi Chan-ho was recently feeling terrible because the government's hunting dogs were interfering with his gang business. The recruit fails to use his fists. He draws a knife. But Choi Chan-ho was angry because he was being cut repeatedly. As misfortune would have it, the recruit endured a double-powered punch. Right there, without stopping, the second sword silences the recruit. He asks him, do you think we're such easy prey in your eyes? Do you think that you, together with that cunning snake, can truly defeat me? That recruit still had a second knife for revenge. But Choi Chan-ho says we are not the smartest of all. Our way of doing things is very simple. He blocks the knife made from a bulletproof vest. Now that recruit had to pay the price for his arrogance. This old man and all the henchmen fight for their families, friends, and organization. These are the things they fight to protect. He stands by the corpse. The battle ends. A military trainee recruit of Section Chief Jang lies unconscious on the ground. Blood is flowing from his head. Choi Chan-ho stands in front of him. His technology gloves are stained with blood. He has a satisfied smile on his face. The voiceover reveals his thoughts. This is very simple and easy to see. Is it, he says. For the thugs, their family, friends, and organization are the only things that matter. He fights for those he protects. Sean immediately returns to the Beak Yisu battle. He stands on a dark street. His arm is wounded, then Ha Jin-young arrives. Ha Jin-young worriedly asks about Yisu's hand, wondering if it's broken or torn. He says, you look okay, but you seem worried about Tisen. He reminds Yisu that he himself had said not to worry about anything. Because Tisen is not an organization that can be easily defeated. Hearing this, Beak Yisu becomes worried. He reminds Ha Jin-young that their enemy is a professional, not easy to deal with. He gets annoyed that they keep talking about professionals. He angrily says that it matters. He says they shouldn't fight him without being prepared. Seeing this, Ha Jin-young wraps his jacket around his fist. And he tells Yisu not to think too much. A determined resolve was on his face. He says, I just have to beat him. Then Deadline attacks them at full speed on his motorcycle. In this moment, Ha Jin-young recalls the words of his former boss, Beak Do-kyung. We see a flashback of Beak Do-kyung laughing, drenched in blood. Ha Jin-young remembers that Do-kyung said, whether it's a professional or the angel of death, it doesn't matter if you have to face them. Remembering his boss's bravery, Ha Jin-young moves forward with one goal, to smash the moving vehicle. He moves forward and with all his might, lands a powerful punch on the speeding motorcycle. The crash was so terrifying that the motorcycle's parts were completely shattered. And Deadline flies far into the sky and crashes down. The voiceover says that a single punch is enough to defeat that warrior's horse. The voiceover reveals his true identity. This is Ha Jin-young. Tison's man is not a professional, but he is fast. Whether it's Deadline or any other professional, they will all be finished. After the battle, Ha Jin-young asks Baek Yi-soo. He asks how he is feeling. He admits that sometimes they have to use Baek Do-kyung's methods for the job. But this time, the case is different. We have to become Baek Do-kyung. Hearing this, Baek Yi-soo remembers his childhood. The story moves to a flashback. We see an 11-year-old crying Baek Yi-soo. His older twin brother Baek Do-kyung, who is also injured. He stands in front of him. Do-kyung threatens his younger brother. He says that if he sees him crying again, he will hit him again. The voiceover explains, although they were twins, the younger brother was very timid and weak, while the older brother was stronger than anyone else. Do-kyung used to tell his brother to leave everything to him because he would never lose. From that day, he started hating his brother. At school, Yi-soo always heard news of his brother's fights. Meanwhile, Yi-soo just wanted to study. Do-kyung always remained the center of attention. By the age of 15, Do-kyung began bringing his thugs to school. Once he fought a professional high school fighter. He is reminiscing about that fight. That was the fight his brother Do-kyung had against a professional fighter who was a high school student at the time. He was a senior in high school. He was showing a lot of arrogance from the start. He had already beaten up Do-kyung's friends badly. We see those friends. Their heads are bandaged. Their legs are in casts. And their hands are in slings. It seems like Lee Sun-min had already advised them. But they didn't listen to his advice. Seeing this, Do-kyung steps forward to confront the senior. He shouts at him, "Senior, how did you turn into a high school student after graduating? What have you been doing this whole time in this middle school trash? What's going through your mind? Or will I have to explain in a different way?" His anger was clearly visible in his eyes. The senior wanted to beat this little kid up. But Do-kyung did not give him a chance. He told that senior, "Get out of here. You don't have to be humiliated like this on the school grounds." After telling his friends to leave, Do-kyung alone stops to face the senior. He knew that his friends would not be able to help him, but would just get in the way. The other students standing there did not believe that Do-kyung was going to fight them alone. They thought it was very cool. But the situation was completely different. Despite his harsh words, Do-kyung suddenly bowed respectfully and apologized. He shouted very loudly, "I apologize sincerely to my senior. I was a bit overcome with excitement, and I acted inconsiderately and did not show proper respect." His opponent is also taken aback by his sudden change of attitude. Do-kyung starts flattering that senior. "I have heard you are from Tri-High. You must be someone important from there. Yes, no, I genuinely respect you, senior." The senior's mood softens a bit due to his flattery. He thinks that this boy is quite clever. The senior had planned that he would beat Do-kyung as he would his friends. But now he smiles. He also says he's in a good mood. Therefore, he will let him go. "But in exchange, I will kill your friends. Is this okay?" Upon hearing this, a faint demonic smile appears on Baek Do-kyung's face. He had a pen in his hand. Actually, he thought he would simply apologize and let them go. But when the senior mentioned killing his friends, Baek Do-kyung made a decision and drove the pen straight into the senior's leg. The senior screams in pain. Then Baek Do-kyung starts punishing the loud-mouthed voice mercilessly as he insults them. The scene changes thereafter. We see a new boy named Ji-hwan. He runs every morning to deliver newspapers. Some goons would bother him about distributing newspapers the old way. It seems he did this job to help financially support his younger sister. At least until he broke his left leg. Then a new gang of goons surround Ji-hwan. Their leader hits him. The scene that follows is a bit strange. We see the back alley punks beating up that goon. But the voiceover tells a completely different story. The story begins with broken memories. The voiceover talks about a boy named First Songbook, who always brought a notebook to school that was missing something. But now he couldn't do anything. Then we see a boy named Ji-hwan lying on the ground. Seeing all these broken memories makes Baek Yi-soo hate his negligent brother. The story returns to a flashback, where we understand the relationship between Baek Yi-soo and his twin brother Baek Do-kyung. Even though his brother was a soldier, he always bravely challenged powerful people. His brother had done everything that Yi-soo could not do. But was this the thing that was stopping Yi-soo from moving forward? In reality, Baek Yi-soo was jealous of his brother. He, deep in his heart, wanted to become just like him. The flashbacks continue. One time, Baek Do-kyung was beating someone and Baek Yi-soo arrived. Du Kaiyang asks him what he is doing here. Then he tells Isu that, in his view, he is not suited for studying. He says no matter how much you try, nothing gets into your mind. Upon hearing this crazy statement, Du Kaiyang gets excited. That day, a new world opened up for the two twin brothers. Du Kaiyang once asked Isu what he would do after dropping out of school. Du Kaiyang said that his elder brother was going to start a business. I will make you the chairman. The story returns to the present. Deadline lies unconscious on the ground after the battle. Bikisu, holding his broken hand, asks Ha Jin Young what to do next. He silently thinks that perhaps he could become Beak Du Kaiyang. The path is still very long. His face still held the desire to become like his brother. He finally asks Ha Jin Young that question. The one that was in his heart. What kind of person is my brother to you? Can I really become Beak Du Kaiyang? Upon hearing this, Ha Jin Young gives a serious answer. He says he will make Beak Yisu the new emblem of the Tisen group, replacing Beak Du Kaiyang. It had already been decided after the previous battle that Beak Yisu would become the new emblem of the Tisen Association. But before this, there was another problem to resolve. That professional hitman Deadline, who had just been defeated by Ha Jin Young. He was still there, Ha Jin Young. Who is he truly? Who Beak Yisu was also standing quietly. There is a bit of an argument between them. Deadline starts demanding money for his broken car lights. Ha Jin Young, Rai Hyang Kal says that Beak Yisu is from the US military. But he is still speaking Korean. Tired of all this, Beak Yisu gives up. And he thinks that today is truly very strange. His phone rings. He had hoped for a new order to come in. He takes out his phone and checks it. He receives a message from Earthwolf. The message states that he has already received 20 million vorns. This is the holding fee to go to the place shown below. The rest of the money will be sent after the mission is completed. Deadline gets confused upon seeing the new order. He suddenly turns his car. Before leaving, he points directly at Jin with his hand and says he will remember this face. Yes, Jin doesn't believe he just walked away like that. He thought he would end the entire battle. But Bikisu explains that Deadline only works for money. It means that either he has completed his mission or he got a better job. Deadline quickly rides his bike and leaves from there. After he leaves, silence falls in Tisen. The scene changes and we are inside the Tisen headquarters. The atmosphere was extremely calm and tense. Another battle was ongoing here. Choi Hwan Ho was facing a new, extremely dangerous enemy. This was the same long-haired, white-haired phantom. The voiceover says that it was a battle in which no one else could intervene. Choi Hwan Ho realizes that his enemy is not an ordinary human. He realizes that if he even slightly weakens his defense, he will immediately lose. But he had already been injured by his enemy's attack. Now he had to end this fight as quickly as possible. The Phantom was a crazy man. He laughs wildly. He warns Choi Chan-ho. That is not enough to defeat him. The Phantom attacks without giving him a chance to recover. His knife strikes Choi Chan-ho's arm repeatedly, turning it red. He was extremely fast. Choi Chan-ho was about to die. He barely manages to block a single attack coming at him. He gets stabbed again. A deep wound appears on his back. Choi Chan-ho can't believe where this man has come from. He had made a huge mistake by misjudging his enemy. Now he was more worried about his enemy than his own defense. The Phantom keeps laughing like a madman. He keeps taunting him. Choi Chan-ho was facing his enemy the Phantom, who had white hair. Choi Chan-ho was not worried about losing, but about the man's madness and his speed. The Phantom was attacking at great speed, and each of his strikes was beyond prediction. At that moment, the Phantom suddenly laughs. He laughs for a reason. Because a certain thought comes to his mind. That was something Beak Yisu often said. Upon hearing this, he becomes even more excited. The Phantom attacks with incredible speed, like a clever rat. That he is not an ordinary enemy. Someone against whom he could save his strength. This was the most dangerous enemy of his life. But Choi Chan-ho's way of thinking was different. He believed that when he defended something, he could not be beaten. So he cannot be beaten. With this thought, he moves forward to attack. He grabs the Phantom's arm, and with all his strength, he twists it backward. The painful sound of a bone breaking echoes, and the Phantom's teeth chatter from the pain. But the Phantom does not give up despite his broken arm, and he tries to attack with his knee. But at that very moment, he receives a phone call. He receives orders on the call. Everyone steps back immediately. Hearing this, the Phantom's companions immediately leave. The Phantom doesn't understand where exactly these people are going. Why are they stepping back? His captain reports to him that the Iron Weasel has changed the plan. Therefore, they have been ordered to return. Hearing this, Shadow becomes even angrier. He grabs the captain's face and screams, "Is making nonsense about retreating your hobby? Are you trying to make me angry?" The fun has just begun, the scene changes. He calls Section Chief Jang and tells him not to argue and to meet him quickly. On the other side, we see Chairman Lee Sun-min. He says he has a plan. Now we see a big picture. Even though Ryu T-yeon hated the Taisen Association, he thought that when they crushed Taisen, all problems would be solved. He wanted to use the underworld law. After that, we see that the Taisen Association has gained a new member. It was the same young boy, Iron Weasel. Lee Sun-min is extremely tired of this new member. He gives him a new nickname, Parrot, which means a parrot. Then we see a new bald man, he is Bird again. It seems that he also calls the Iron Weasel a burette. He says he has told him many times not to wander around with a knife. After this, we see Baek Yi-soo, who is now fully prepared like his brother Baek Do-kyung. Beside him is his loyal secretary Sua. He is at an upscale place where some new people are waiting for them. A bald man sits holding a knife. Baek Yi-soo says, "So now we will discuss this like real gangsters. Where should we start?" In the meantime, Gu-chan, a member of the Nine Swords, sent home after the deeds of the elder Choi Chan-ho. Choi Chan-ho says he is tired of the food here. Therefore, he is going home. But Ha Jin-young wanted to ignore Baek Do-kyung's orders to delay advancing toward Taisen a little longer. We see that Ha Jin-young had something hidden inside a red garment. The voiceover says he should look back to see. This indicates that something big is about to happen. At this time, a new plan forms in the Taisen Association's mind, giving them and Lee Sun-min a chance to rise again. Therefore, the elder Lee Sun-min had to return to his home. But he didn't know that his team, the Nine Swords, was on the brink of defeat. They had been soundly beaten, even by his own brothers. But what Ryu T-yeon had not expected emerges now. Lee Sun-min was completely eliminated because Section Chief Jang and his allies had changed their targets. This was the underworld law that Ryu T-yeon had used. What he hated most and wanted to eliminate were Lee Sun-min and his weak senior colleagues. Some time ago, Lee Sun-min was calculating his monthly income and expenses. His earnings this month seemed lower than before. Everyone working under him felt guilty. But his superior, Lee Sang-ha, assumed the greatest responsibility. He was worried about the elderly man with a leg brace and about the seventh brother, who was extremely helpless. Then a loud, strange commotion began coming from outside. The members of the Nine Swords asked their senior brothers for permission to investigate. The guard at the door said the noise seemed to come from the lower floor and sounded like a motorcycle. However, the sound originated on the third floor, so everyone rushed out. Suddenly, a strange man attacked them directly with a red stick while riding a motorcycle. He collided with the Nine Swords. He also smashed the office door. The seventh brother and the other elders were stunned by the sudden attack.